Hi, thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to do another do-it-yourself coloring sheet using stencils. Now this is a recreation of a video that I did earlier. However, the video was not able to be reclaimed, so I'm redoing it. What you'll need is some type of stencil. You'll also need a sheet of paper, and I prefer you to use an 8.5 sheet of paper, 8.5 by 11, sorry about that. And you need a fine tip ink pen. This is a fine tip ink pen, but for the video purposes I'm going to use a pen that is a little larger. The point is so that you'll be able to see the line a lot better. But for your coloring sheets, use a fine line pen, black or blue ink. It's preferably black because it will mimic a normal outline. And I will show you the stencils. You can pick up stencils, and there are a variety of makers and subject matter. This one has flags on it. This is made by Plaid. Plaid is a leader in the industry for making stencils of all kind. I'm not sure who makes this stencil, but I thought the design was pretty good, so I grabbed that. There's some other stencils. I have no idea who makes these, but you can find stencils of various shapes and sizes. Also subject matter. I used this on a different video. Also, these are kind of new on the block, or new in our area, and they're craft or square, where they have this little wheel that you can spin around. It has this window in it that allows you to put the particular stencil in that window, and then you focus on that. Remember now, these, you usually use a stencil brush with a stencil paints to get these markings, to make the markings. But when you flip it over, you can see all the different stencils that are on that wheel. So when you buy one like this, make sure you keep this little cardboard piece on it. Don't take that off, and that way you're able to use this more efficiently. Also, this little piece that sticks off that they hang in the store, this will work really well if you have a studio area. You can have a little hook or nail that you can keep these hanging on. Now here's one made by the same people, but it's square, and I like it. It also has that window that gets you to focus your attention on that. And on this one, there's 4 different designs on that one. This is made by Craft or Square, but here's one by Jot. Same concept with the window there. Spin it around to the window around to select. And then when you flip it over, you can see what's on the back. So you see there's different sizes, different styles. So we're going to recreate the butterfly one, and I believe I used this stencil, so I'll continue to use that stencil. That one, remember I have this, but this is another butterfly one. I thought that was kind of cute too, so I grabbed it. But we're going to recreate that one because I want to show you how easy it is. So all you need is a stencil, and I'm going to select, I'm only going to put one on here. Well, I'll do this one different than the other one. So let's see, I want to have my main focal point for my stencil, and I'm going to use, I think, this one, just because. I'll use this one so you can see it through there. And what will happen is I'll show you both stencils on the end, so I'll make this one different than I did the first one. That way you can see there's a difference in the way you make them. Now what you'll do is you'll take an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and if you have copy paper, that makes it even better. Fold it in half, and then fold it in half again. So you'll have 4 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll have 4 squares. And I recommend that you do 4 coloring sheets and then start coloring them. So create 4 coloring sheets because there's a rhythm and a rhythm to it, and it is relaxing just to create these coloring sheets. So you may want to create the coloring sheets one day and color them later on that day or another day. Alright, so this is what we're going to do. I've selected the stencil pattern that I want to use. I don't want to put this large butterfly right in the middle of my area. I'm going to offset it either to the left or the right of center, at the top or the bottom. I'll set it off of center also. So this is probably the center of this little area, and I'm going to set it off over here on this side. I'm not going to let the butterfly go straight up and down. I'm going to orient it slightly at an angle to the right, and now I'm going to hold this down. You can tape it down, but by the time you tape it, you can just go ahead and hold it down. So I'm going to hold it down, and I'm going to trace inside each of the areas. Take your time and trace these in here because you don't want to make too many mistakes. You're using an ink pen, it'll show up. Now the reason why I say use an ink pen is because if you use markers, it will mess up the line if you use the pencil. So the ink will hold up to you using a marker. And you can use whatever you like. Color pencils, you can use a marker to do these. You can use, not paints. What is it? If you can find some pastels that are smaller, dry stuff, not the liquid type acrylic paints. Now you may be able to use acrylic paint markers. I'm not sure how well this will hold up. It's the paper that you're concerned with because the quality of copy paper will not stand up to a lot of water. So there is the butterfly. Now that's my main butterfly, so no other butterfly will be as big as that one. Alright, now I'm going to select something else. So for the other one I use these little cutouts here. I'm going to use, I see a really small butterfly here. So I'm going to use that with this thing that looks like a flower. So I'm going to turn the wheel so that I can see that butterfly there. And there's a larger size butterfly here also. I'm going to use both of those. So I'm going to come right here. I like to go from large to small. That way it will, I'll keep into what I'm doing. I think I changed my mind just that quick. And this one is a little fancier, but not as big as my main butterfly, so I'll use this. Remember, you're creating, and it's an intuitive process, which means you are creating as you go. You're not holding fast to any set of rules. You're allowing what is being created to just come forth. There. Now, see, now I have 2 on there. And the other one is going to go in this space here. I think it's 3. I'm only going to do 3. I'm going to go back and get that smaller butterfly. So this is going that way, that's going that way, and I'm going to sort of orient it going up this way. You don't want them all going in the same direction. You can, that's up to you, I'll say that. So it's still not going straight up and down, it's slightly angled. There. It looks like a butterfly on the stencil, but on here it doesn't look like a butterfly. But it is. So what I'll do is I'm going to just put this on here like that, and it'll really make it look more like, the antennas will make it look more like a butterfly. And what I'm going to go back and do now is I'm going to go back and use these circular flowers that I saw. When you have several different stencils, this time I'm using all of the markings off of this stencil, but you can use markings off of a different stencil if you like. If you see, look at some of the other stencil, do-it-yourself stencil, coloring sheet videos, you'll see that I use stencils off of various other ones. So I'm going to take this big one and I'll run it off the page up here on this corner. I don't want it to take up too much. I'm going to run part of it off the edge. And I'm taking my time. Now, one thing about these shapes, if you take your time, it will look a certain way. If you rush it, it'll have another weird, funky shape to it. So if you start out with the taking your time doing it, then continue to take your time putting these shapes on here. And I'm not putting them too close together. Let's see if I can come in some for you. Zoom in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing instead of so far off. But I want you to get an overall view of what I'm doing and not just a partial view. So I'm looking at the sheet head on here, and I've added a little here and here. So see this space here? I'll put something in this space because it's a big enough space, and I'm going to have to put something in here. So maybe something over here and something over there. So let's try this. I'm going to put a little one over here, a little one of those small flowers over here. So they are slightly different in size, and when you trace it out, that's what it looked like. I'll put the other one here. I'm just filling in space, not putting them too close together, but putting enough in there so it doesn't leave big giant gaps like this. So now I'm going to I put a little one there and put a large one here, run it slightly off the page. And you want to run some of these shapes slightly off the page so that it creates interest in itself. This is a large butterfly here, so it can stand to have this larger flower right here. And I don't want it touching either butterfly, but I want it sort of floating in between the two of them. There. I think something needs to go in between here, but I'm going to leave it alone. There's a big gap down here, so I'm going to put the big one here, but I was going to run it off the page, so I'm just going to run just let it slightly kiss the edge over here. So it slightly kisses the edge of the page here. All right, that's really filling up nicely. You see that? That's really filling up nicely. Now I'm just using the flower shape with the butterflies because I'm making just a simple one. You're getting started. The more you do these, the more comfortable you become, and then you can add even more shapes. I'm only using, just say, two subjects, the butterfly and the little flowers. But look at this. See this little teardrop looking shape? You can use any of these shapes off of this. See, it has a little teardrop looking shape. I think that is interesting too. So you can use the shapes off the butterflies themselves to make other markings around your page. You don't have to be, it's not a hard and fast rule that you have to stick with one thing. All right, we're going to run a big one off the page even more over here on this side. See that? Which leaves me a gap in here so I can put some more in there. I'm going to slide this right in here. You want to run stuff off the page other than it creating interest. You don't want it to look mechanical. And if you don't run anything off the page, it'll start to look a little mechanical. I'm going to put a big one right here between these two butterflies. Can you see that? Yep. So see this gap in here? I'm going to slice that gap in two by putting one here, not too close to the little one, not too close to the big one. Butterfly, that is. There. And with each addition that I make to the sheet, I just take an overall look at it to see what it looks like. So I'm just adding two without crowding it too much. If I crowd this side over here, I'll have to go back and crowd that, you know, another area. And I don't want to do that. So I have a large one here. I'm going to put a little one in here. And I don't have much more space to add anything to it. I'm going to put this over here because this is a good size space. And then I think I may only have to add one more little one. Oh, I thought I was doing a big one. That was a little one. I meant to do a big one there. So I'll just go ahead and put the big one here. It's kind of oversized for that space. It's not going to work. So I'll have to put the little one in there. That's okay. We're just filling in spaces, so there it is. It still looks like it needs something there, so I think I'll put a little one there because these are two large ones here. So I'll put a little one in here and sort of run it off the space, off the page. So it's there, but it's not totally there. So that area doesn't look too crowded. There we are. Now I still have my main butterfly right here. And then I have this one that's a little smaller, and then this one that is smaller. This is almost the same size as that. Perfect. And I'll include a picture of this one as well as the other one. I really enjoy making these do-it-yourself coloring sheets, and I hope you do too. Thanks for joining me. Until next time.